Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Numark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of DraxBytes. I'm your host, Dr. Drax. We're going to talk a bit about tonight is copyright. There's a lot of flutter all over Facebook, social media, and all trending everywhere about copyright. Let's get into the 411. Any venue that you play in has to have an ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC license. That is how it is. If they try to say it's your responsibility, tell them no. It is not your responsibility. You cannot actually buy an ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC license unless you are what would be an event producer. You're renting the space, you're selling tickets or inviting people to come, and then you would be responsible potentially for an ASCAP license, or let's just call it a copyright license as it pertains to the lyricist and composer of the songs that you play. Now let's talk a bit about the things that are said that are not true. There is no blanket license for people that remix music. Every single person that does it has to obtain their own ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC provision from the people who wrote the lyrics and the music. And they have to have that same license granted by the artist and or label that owns the actual recording if you're remixing the recording. Those are facts. Item number 3, mixtapes are illegal. They've always been illegal. They will always be illegal. There is no legitimate thing that says you can take 2 or 3 songs or 5 and mix them together and then sell them, distribute them, give them away to people and call it no harm, no foul. Because you're not promoting the artist's work. They don't need you. They honestly don't need you. They get more mileage in 5 minutes on MTV than all the mobile DJs do all year. So that argument about you're providing promotion to them is a specious argument. Now, so let's talk about that. You cannot make your own recordings and sell or distribute them. You can't put them on your website. Now, there is an argument to be made that you can record them to SoundCloud and then link to SoundCloud or Mixcloud. The jury's still out upon that, really, again, because of intellectual property right laws, which are at this point unsettled. Now let's talk about the DJ that thinks that anybody selling music on the internet is legal. False. Again, that's a big fairy tale. Here's the reason. All the recording pools, Promo Only, TM Studios, RPM Top Hits, ERG, anyone that is legitimate is paying a royalty to the rights holders. And the rights holders have made it easy. It's kind of like most favored nation status. What that means for you is everybody that is a pool service pays the exact same amount per song, per download, or per distribution. Everybody does. It's all the same. So there is no ability for some pool to say, well, because of our size, we get a much, much better deal on the license. That's a lie. They're out and out lying to you. So when someone tells you you can have all you can eat buffet, you can download 1,000 songs for $9.99 a month or $29.99 a month, again, that's a lie. It's just a clear sign that they're not legal, because the reality of it is if 100 people each downloaded 1,000 songs, that's 100,000 songs for which they don't own a royalty to, for which they would only have taken in approximately $1,000. Now you think about that. 100,000 songs, and they've taken in $1,000. There's no way that that math model works. So you have to consider that that's an illegal pool service. Another way to tell is if they put no markings on their videos at all. If they have no markings on their videos, they're not basically protecting the intellectual property they're distributing. And more often than not, what it really is they don't put any marks on there because they don't want to get caught. They don't want there to be any tangible trace of where that file came to in the file itself. So that's another big red flag. Now, the other thing that you want to consider with copyright, we make our money with other people's art. Therefore, we should do our very best to see that everyone is compensated that owns that art, that participates in that art. And what that means for you is, as looking for a pool service, when you see things like they can't guarantee how long a song will be on their pool because an artist may demand it be pulled, that means it's illegal, because that means they were never had the right given to them to distribute it in the first place. So that's another pretty big telling point. The other aspect you want to look at is what's the quality across the board on all of the material that they're providing. Is the quality really solid? Is it all uniform? Is the audio all retracked? If it is, it's a good chance it's a legal service. If it's all over the place, all the bit rates are all over the place, it's a very good possibility that it's an illegal service. And I'd say it's like 99.99 that it's an illegal service. Again, because anybody that's doing it professionally as a real pool service isn't going to have Huey, Louie, and Dewey uploading songs into their network. The songs are going to come from the label, which means they're perfect recordings. They're going to be digitally delivered to you, retracked, which means all the audio from song A to song B are all consistent. So when you're mixing, you're fading left and right and not up and down. And the important thing for you to know about is that's what real pool services do for you. And that means they guarantee the quality of the audio and the video. They guarantee it because they are delivering you a licensed product from a rights holder. And so when you think about your promotional music that you buy from various pools, that's what you need to look at. If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. If they're offering you things that are not offered by the major pools that support our trade shows, you can pretty well count that they're illegal because they're not providing rights holders the appropriate licensure. Now, why is this important to you? Because if we want to be respected by the music industry and by the recording industry, we have to show that we're worthy of respect. And that means that we're actually walking the talk, that we're not running bootleg copies of music that's been placed on the internet. Don't play music off of YouTube, okay? Have I said it? You don't need to. There's no event that is going to be ruined because you didn't play some obscure version of XYZ song off of YouTube. Just isn't. Now, talk a little bit about the enforcement side. If you don't think ASCAP and BMI and CSAC enforce their trademarks and their intellectual property, their copyrights, guess again. Just Google ASCAP litigation, BMI litigation, CSAC litigation, and you'll get lists and lists and lists. Recently, a guy said, oh, show me one, show me one, show me one. I gave him 11 just in a very quick search. People that were actively being sued for violating copyright law. Now, so you as a DJ, if you obtain your music through a promotional pool service that's duly licensed, you're home free. You're not going to have any ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC issues. Also, you're going to be home free because you're providing music and playing music that has been licensed by the recording industry for commercial use. That means you making money of it. When you look at music that is sold at retail, it's not licensed for commercial use. Now, the argument can be made in the case of old and obscure music that at least you've made a good faith effort to compensate the artist, and you have. And so the likelihood of you getting arrested for that is pretty low. But you just need to understand what we're talking about here. And when I say legal and illegal, it's not necessarily a criminality. It's a criminality to pirate and distribute music for which you have no license. That is both a civil and a criminal statute under the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act. The copyright laws don't need to get into the new period. They're in the new period. The issue is what it is. People want to have more say about what happens with other people's property. Imagine you own a car and somebody says, that guy's car sits there 8 hours every day. I ought to be able to drive that car because I have a right to that car because he gave me a ride in that car one time. It's not an exact match, but it's a close idea. People want to say to people that own recordings that have actually produced them that, hey, guess what? I think this is how it ought to be, and I'm going to make it that way. I'm going to force it that way. Well, that's not the way we want to see the industry be treated, because when artists don't make enough money, pretty soon there won't be artists. When songwriters don't make enough money, pretty soon there won't be songwriters. So that's just 5 minutes, something for you to think about on this episode of DraxBytes relative to copyright law. If you find people that are selling hard drives on eBay on the internet, turn them in, 1-800-BAD-BEAT. Drop a dime on them. If they're selling them on eBay, flag it for eBay. Selling it on Amazon, flag it for Amazon. Because we need to police our own industry and stop the proliferation of stolen music and stolen videos. Because in the end, folks, we make a great living with other people's talents, other people's art. The very least we can do is to respect that art and to do our part to help protect it, so those artists will want to continue to produce great music that we can utilize and provide it through promotional services like Promo Only, ERG, RPM Top Hits, and TM Studios that we can all use in our businesses. Now, if you're a member of ADJA, we have a smoking deal on Promo Only. Can save you a ton of money. But the pool services I named are ones I personally know are 100% legitimate. They're the ones you should do business with. And yes, you may not find some mixes there that you'll find on the internet. The reason is they're not licensed. What you find on the internet isn't licensed. And if you see content that is on the internet that's not being put up there by the artist themselves, flag it for YouTube. Get it removed. Because in the end of the day, that's the best thing we can do, is help the music industry. Help save the music industry, because that's our industry. That's what we're a part of. We need to help that along the way. And the best way we can do it is be good stewards of the content we have. That means if you run a multi-system company, you're not making 10 libraries out of one. It means if you're a single op, you're not stealing music, or if you're a multi-op, you're not stealing music. You're not using bootleg songs. You're using the content that's been lawfully obtained through a promotional pool service that is licensed for commercial use. You won't find any retail sales of music where the end user license agreement will say that it's licensed for commercial use. That's the start and the end of that argument. Now, again, as I said earlier, there is a case that can be made about diminutive infraction or a diminutive loss to them because you have paid something, but giving your money to theft sites is wrong. Just because you can do it, and just because they have a website and they can take your money, does not make it right. You are materially participating in supporting piracy. Please, on behalf of the DJ industry and the music industry, which we all love and use in our living, don't be a part of theft. Anyway, put your comments down below. See you next week on DraxBytes. It's been a great time to be with us. You can reach me on Facebook at Hugo Drax or 4ADJA. You can also reach us online at adja.org or the photoboothAssociation.com. You can reach us at ADJA at 888-723-5776. This is our episode for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please put your comments down below. Reach out to me. Give me your thoughts. We made this episode specifically as a result of several threads that have gone on where people have not really understood the nature of copyrights for the mobile DJ. Thanks and good night.